How much do you know about Southgate's time as England boss? Gareth Southgate's time as England manager is over after the Euro 2024 final defeat by Spain. Test your knowledge about his tenure and how he compares to former bosses. Less than a year away from a home World Cup, England's women will start the defense of their WXV1 title against the USA in Vancouver at 8:30 p.m. BST on Sunday 29 September. The Red Roses, who won the inaugural WXV1 trophy in 2023, will also face New Zealand in their second fixture before facing hosts Canada in their final pool match. Ireland make their debut in WXV1 against the reigning world champions New Zealand. The WXV competition is entering its second year and provides consistent annual fixtures for 18 test sides outside of World Cup years. In 2024, WXV1 is hosted by Canada in Vancouver, WXV2 is hosted by South Africa in Cape Town and Stellenbosch, while WXV3 is hosted by Dubai. Canada will be riding high coming into the competition as hosts and having recently won the Pacific 4 Series title. Scotland are also on a title defense after winning WXV2 in 2023. This year they open against their Six Nations rivals Italy, having pipped them to the trophy last year, followed by games against Japan and Australia. Wales qualified for WXV2 after beating Spain in a playoff in June. After opening against Australia, they will face Italy before concluding the tournament against Japan.
From the studios of K.L.P. Entertainment, this is SNN Sports.
When Bobby Locke coined his immortal phrase, "drive for show, putt for dough," it was just another flag the great South African planted in the story of golf. For 20 years, Locke was never beaten over 72 holes in his native land. How good was he? When he went to the United States and competed against the Ben Hogans and the Sam Sneads, he won 6 times in 1947 and another 4 times in 1948 and 1949. He finished in the top 4 in 34 of 59 tournaments until a trumped-up charge was brought against him by the tour, and he was banned. Claude Harmon, father of Tiger Woods' former coach Butch and Masters champion in 1948, put it succinctly: Locke was simply too good. They had to ban him. They reinstated him in 1951, but his unique look, baggy +4s, white silk shirts, and a necktie, wasn't seen so much in the U.S. after that. There was really no need. He won in South Africa, England, Scotland, France, Mexico, Egypt, Germany, Switzerland, and Australia. He wasn't in thrall to the States. He was a world player. When he came to his spiritual home of the British Links, he won 4 Open Championships in 9 years, the first at Sandwich, the name he later picked for the apartment complex he owned in Johannesburg, then at Troon in 1950, in what was then a record-low score in the 4-round format. That same year, 1950, was when hapless Hermann Tisses, the German amateur, got licked by the postage stamp, taking 15 shots to complete the devilish par 3. Locke was the first man to go back-to-back in the Open since Walter Hagen won his 3rd and 4th titles in the late 1920s. Hogan was asked about Locke's ability with the short stick. "Everyone examines greens, but only he knows what he's looking for," said the champion golfer of 1953. "He was the greatest putter I have ever seen," said 7-time major winner Snead. He'd hit a 20-footer, and before the ball got halfway, he'd be tipping his hat to the crowd. He wore out his hats tipping them. "One 6-foot putt for my life?" pondered fellow South African great Gary Player. "I'll take Bobby Locke. I've seen them all, and there has never been a putter like him." Old Mutton Face, they called him, or Droopy Chops, or Vinegar Puss. The monikers were a touch unkind. Locke had a lighter side, a smiling and charismatic presence when the stars were aligned, but there was a grumpy side too. He didn't like fans who took pictures of him, and he knew his own worth. If a journalist wanted an interview that included any golf tips, he'd charge $100. Pay up or shut up. He was lethal, but not exactly quick. He went at his own pace in tournaments, and some of his peers didn't like him for it, and liked him less when he ambled away with the winner's loot. He sparked resentment, mostly because of his excellence. When writing about Bobby Locke, you soon figure out there were different versions of the same man. He was a fighter pilot in the South African Air Force during World War II, apparently flying 100 combat missions in the Mediterranean and Western Desert. Champion golfer, war hero, and miracle man. In 1960, 7 years after he won his 3rd claret jug at Lytham, and 3 years after he won his 4th at St. Andrews, Locke's wife, Mary, gave birth to a baby girl, Carolyn. On his way to see the new arrival, the car Locke was traveling in stopped at a level crossing to let a train go by, then pulled out, not knowing that there was another coming in the opposite direction. The vehicle flew 30 yards through the air and down a bank. Locke went through the back window. For 2 days, he lay unconscious in the same hospital as his wife and daughter. It took a month before he could open his left eye. He had double vision, migraines, memory loss, and severe pain in both legs. Medication and mood swings became part of his daily existence. So did alcohol. He didn't lose his life on that railway track, but Locke the golfer certainly died that day, and an altogether different person replaced him. He was 43 years old. Darkness enveloped him. In 1969, he was arrested for drink driving. Then there was the incident with painter Big Boy Ndlovu, whose work on Locke's apartment block was deemed below par. Big Boy asked for 220 rand for his services, but Locke refused to pay. Words were exchanged. Locke pulled a gun and shot Big Boy in the shoulder. He was done for attempted murder, paid a fine of 120 rand, and had his gun license suspended for 6 months. In a Sports Illustrated piece from 2001, a friend of the family spoke about Locke's newfound casual cruelty towards his wife, Mary, and worse again, the physical abuse he visited upon her. He couldn't think straight, said the source. He wasn't rational anymore. In early March 1987, Locke, 69, was admitted to a nursing home in Johannesburg. He was diagnosed with meningitis, fell into a coma, and died the following day. The tributes were effusive, most focused on the storied first half of his life rather than his tragic second act. Mary and daughter, Carolyn, remained loving to the end, which came in 2000 in the home that was once Sandwich, but which they'd renamed Bobby Locke Place. In a final twist to a horrific story, Mary, 80, and Carolyn, 40, planned a grisly end, a suicide pact. Having grown fearful for their own safety in a once salubrious area that was now rife with crime, they became reclusive, amended their wills, arranged for their dog to be put down, and for his ashes to spread on their grave. They were discovered dead in bed, holding hands after drinking champagne to wash down tablets they'd been gathering for months. "I just want to be with Bobby again," Mary had said to her neighbors for some time. None of them could have known that it would end this way. Locke is remembered not for the husk of a man he became after his near-fatal accident, or for the horrible fate of his nearest and dearest, but for his greatness on the golf course. His victory in 1950 will get a mention or two this week. The other stuff, not so much.
From the studios of K.L.P. Entertainment, this is SNN Sports.
Patterson goes second on British 800m all-time list. Ben Patterson moved second behind Sebastian Coe on the British men's 800-meter all-time list as Monaco hosted the penultimate Diamond League meeting before the Paris Olympics. World bronze medalist Patterson, 22, ran a personal best of 1 minute 42.27 seconds for fifth place in a high-quality race. It moved him above Steve Cram and Leaves Coe, who ran a then-world record 1 minute and 41.73 seconds in 1981 as the only British man to run the two-lap event faster. Dina Asher-Smith finished third in the women's 100-meter in 10.99 seconds, as training partner Julian Alfred, of St. Lucia, took victory in 10.85 seconds from American Tamari Davis. Britain's world indoor champion Molly Cottery cleared 4.83 m for third in the women's pole vault, won by Australia's world champion Nina Kennedy with a best of 4.88 m. Norway's Jakob Ingebrigtsen produced a statement performance in the men's 1,500 meter, clocking a European record 3 minutes and 26.73 seconds as he builds towards his Olympic title defense and a showdown with world champion Josh Kerr. Neil Gorley, who will contest that event at Paris 2024 alongside fellow Britons Kerr and George Mills, was fifth in a season's best 3 minutes and 30.65 seconds, and Elliot Giles finished 13th, 3 minutes and 40.72 seconds. Australian Jessica Hull set a women's world record in the rarely run 2:0:00 m, clocking a sensational 5 minutes and 19.70 seconds just 5 days after she finished runner-up behind Faith Kipyegon's record-breaking 1500 m run in Paris. Melissa Courtney Bryant, who missed out on an Olympic place, was second in a British record 5 minutes and 26.08 seconds, while in the women's 5:0:00 m Hannah Nuttall was 14th in 15 minutes and 37.21 seconds. The final Diamond League meeting before the Paris 2024 Games takes place in London on Saturday, July 20th. Only 13 men have ever run quicker than Patterson's time, and 4 of those athletes finished ahead of him in a blistering Monaco race. The 22-year-old won a surprise world bronze on his debut at a global championships last summer, having only run the qualifying time at the last opportunity at the London Diamond League. 12 months on from that breakthrough, he beat reigning world champion Marco Arap in a superb run as Algeria's Jamal Sajjadi improved his world-leading time this year to 1 minute and 41.46 seconds in victory. Sajjadi's time has been bettered by only 2 men in history. The 25-year-old, winner of world silver in 2022, says he will now target David Rittish's world record of 1 minute and 40.91 seconds, which has stood since London 2012 at Paris 2024. Patterson, who underwent heart surgery at the age of 18, last year became the first British man to make the World 800m podium since 1987, and he will next month bid to become the first to do so at an Olympics since K.L.P 40 years ago. Asher Smith has made significant changes in pursuit of a first individual Olympic medal this year and won European 100-meter gold in June after moving to train with coach Edric Floreal in Austin, Texas. But it was training partner Alfred, the third fastest woman this year, who claimed a dominant victory. Meanwhile, Cottery's British record vault of 4.92 m remains a world-leading mark this year, and she will start as one of the favourites for gold on her Olympic debut. The 24-year-old passed after one attempt at 4.88 m but could not produce the personal best required with 2 more at 4.93 m as Kennedy beat Switzerland's European champion Angelika Moser on countback. Ingebrigtsen's 1500 m showdown with Kerr will be one of the most eagerly anticipated events at Paris 2024 after the Briton beat the Olympic champion to world gold in Budapest last summer. The Norwegian remains the 4th fastest man in history over the distance, but edged closer to Hicham El Guerrouf's 26-year-old world record of 3 minutes and 26 seconds with a personal best in Monaco that will fuel his belief that he can retain his title in Paris. Elsewhere, Botswana's 21-year-old world 100-meter silver medalist Letzel Tebogo was a comfortable winner in the men's 200-meter in a time of 19.87 seconds. American Rai Benjamin edged out Olympic and world champion Karsten Warholm in a stacked men's 400-meter hurdles, in which Brazil's Alisson dos Santos finished third. All 3 men have run under 47 seconds in 2024, the only athletes to do so in the event, and it was world bronze medalist Benjamin who finished strongest to win in 46.67 seconds, with Warholm clocking 46.73 seconds. Ireland's Razadad Adelik, who trains alongside Asher Smith and Alfred in Texas, took an impressive victory in the women's 400-meter in a time of 49.17 seconds. American Grant Holloway won the men's 110-meter hurdles in 13.01 seconds as the 3-time world champion eyes a first Olympic title.
From the studios of K.L.P. Entertainment, this is SNN Sports.
All you need to know about the Paris 2024 Olympics. The Paris 2024 Olympic Games will showcase 3,800 hours of live sport and award 329 gold medals in 32 sports over 18 days of competition across the capital and in other parts of France. Here is all you need to know about the 34th Summer Olympics. The opening ceremony to signal the official start of the Paris 2024 Olympics will be held on Friday, July 26. But the sporting action actually begins on Wednesday, July 24th with pool matches in football, rugby sevens, handball, and archery. The ambitious opening ceremony will take place along the River Seine instead of in a stadium. The first medals will be awarded a day later and competition will conclude on August 11th, with the closing ceremony later that evening. The women's 100-meter final will be held at 2020 British Summertime on Saturday, August 3rd, and a little over 24 hours later, at 2050 British Summertime on August 4th, it will be the men's 100-meter final. Both will take place at the Stade de France, where all the track and field events are being held. There are 329 gold medal events at Paris 2024 with a whopping 39 medals being won on the penultimate day of competition, Saturday, August 10th. The first medal of the Games will be in shooting, mixed team air rifle, and that is expected to be won at 10:30 British Summertime on Saturday, July 27th. The final medal will be awarded in women's basketball at 16:30 British Summertime on Sunday, August 11th. The only new sport for the 2024 Olympics is breaking. It is a style of dance that originated in the Bronx in New York during the 1970s but has evolved to become a competitive sport. In Paris, breaking will not be seen until the latter part of the Games, with the women's event taking place on August 9th and the men's on August 10th. A total of 32 entrants, 16 men and 16 women will compete for the medals. Baseball/softball and karate both featured in Tokyo 3 years ago but have been dropped for these Olympics. Other tweaks to sports include a change in format for sport climbing. In Tokyo, there was only one medal on offer for both the men and women, but in Paris there will be a combined medal for lead in bouldering and a separate medal event for speed climbing. Kayak cross will also make its debut. It is a form of canoe slalom, but 4 athletes in each heat race against each other, not just the clock. In sailing, 2 kite events have been added to the program: windsurfer, IQ foil and kiteboarding. And in artistic swimming, men are included for the first time in Olympic history, and there will also be a team acrobatic routine round making its debut. Team GB have finalized their squad for the games with 327 athletes set to take part, external across 24 different sports. They won 64 medals in Tokyo, and data experts Nielsen Gracenote currently predict a total of 62 in Paris. The Paris Olympics will be live across BBC TV, radio, and online. Paris is 1 hour ahead of the UK, and the majority of the action will take place from 8 British Summer Time to 2300 hours British Summer Time each day, although some events such as the marathons, race walks and triathlons are starting slightly earlier. You can watch all the big moments live on 2 BBC channels as well as on BBC iPlayer and the BBC Sport website and app. BBC Radio 5 Live and Sports Extra will also bring you live commentary every day, and there will be live text, video clips, and highlights on the BBC Sport website and app and across our social channels.